Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start the video by giving all praise to the Most High Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. Alright, yeah, this is an article that I saw. I saw this article about some time ago, and when I saw this thing, man, you know, like for me, this was one of the biggest. Okay, not like the biggest, but this was actually one of the most, you know, how can I put this? This was like, I just say when I saw this article, man, that's when I knew like things are really moving. I think things are really kicking up. This article is from Business Insider South Africa. Alright, so this was when I'm like, yo, things are really moving. Because when you see things like this, that's the time you should take and reflect. The purpose of why you are in the faith. Alright, this is where you you draw strength. Because once this thing kicks off, there's no turning back, basically. Alright, so this is an article titled Putin announced Russia approved a COVID-19 vaccine and gave it to his daughter. This article was written on this month on the 11th. It says, so pretty much these are like the summaries. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Tuesday that Russia had approved a COVID-19 vaccine, the world's first. I know that it works quite effectively, forms strong immunity, and I repeat, it has passed all the needed checks, Putin said on Tuesday. Right. The move has raised concerns because it is not yet undergone phase 3 trials, which are considered essential to guarantee the safety of a vaccine. Alright, so right here when you go on Wikipedia, these are the vaccine trials. Alright, so pretty much it's like checks that the vaccine has to pass, for it to be approved. Pretty much, they have like four phases. Right, and that vaccine that they made in his country, it hasn't even been through phase 3. Alright, so when you look at phase 3, it says similarly, phase 3 trials continue to monitor toxicity. Alright, my phone actually has a problem, like it can't charge beyond a certain percentage. So most of the time I keep it on the charger. But anyway, it says similarly, phase 3 trials continue to monitor toxicity, immunogenicity, and SAEs on a much larger scale. The vaccine must be shown to be safe and effective, right? And we know that vaccine that they made, it hasn't even reached phase 3 trials, so there's no guarantee if it's safe and effective. And so pretty much, people were just going off by what Putin said himself. They were going off by what he said. Alright. Says effective in natural disease conditions before being submitted for approval and then general production. Right. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) is responsible for approving vaccines. Alright, so these vaccines, we don't know if it's safe or not, right, but that is not the main concern. The main concern is that when these vaccines, start rolling up, it's gonna kick things to the next gear, right? Because there are a lot of people, who are looking forward to this vaccine, right? But looking back, when we grew up, we pretty much went on for vaccinations. When we went to the clinics and things of that nature. They gave you like flu shots or whatever, but we're still catching flu now. It's not like this vaccine actually helps. They don't help, man. They were not designed to help. Right? Anyway, I'll say moreover, especially this COVID-19 one. Right? There is an agenda behind this. Right? Because we saw like in past times, prophecies were kicking to high gear. Right? It says Russian President Vladimir Putin says his government has approved. Ask yourself, man, like, how can a government approve something that has not even passed phase 3 trials? How can he do that? You know? And actually, man, there's no proof that this Putin guy, gave his daughter the vaccine. It's pretty much just going off by his word. I mean, for all you know, he could fly it. And for the fact, and I believe he actually did lie. After all, he's a politician, and that's what they're good at. But more than anything, he's an Edomite, right? And we know, like, these people, their words are as smooth as oil, and they are not to be trusted. It says even gave his daughter a shot of the treatment despite concerns that the product has not been properly tested. And he's saying, I know that it works quite effectively, forms strong immunity, and I repeat, it has passed all the needed checks. What needed checks? Because it hasn't even passed phase 3. Right? He said he hoped Russia would soon start mass producing the vaccine. Right? As we read, the vaccines are usually not mass produced until after phase 3. Right? But anyway, they want to mass produce this thing. Right? And it says, and added that one of his two daughters had been given the treatment. That daughter did not specify which. It says had a slight temperature of 38 degrees centigrade, but it quickly abated. He said, she's feeling well and has a high number of antibodies. Alright. So yeah, man, and I remember, I'm not sure if it's this article or another one. In that article, it pretty much stated that, South Africa will be receiving, that vaccine from Russia. So when I heard that, I was like, shit, things are moving. Right, things are moving. This vaccine is gonna be mass produced. Right, which will effectively, get us that closer to the time of Jacob's trouble or the time of great tribulation. Right. Anyway, that article was from 11th of August. And interestingly, today I found another article which was written on August 18th. And it says South Africa planning to sign up to international COVID-19 vaccine plan. Oh man. Alright, but before I continue any further, I heard in the United States, once they start rolling out the vaccine, they're gonna use soldiers, right? They're gonna use soldiers to pretty much give people the vaccines. And one thing about soldiers is they follow orders, right? They follow orders, they don't mess around. Alright, So man, hey, even martial law is gonna be coming. Martial law is gonna be coming. It's gonna be coming, in a wave that is bigger than we have seen, in our lifetime. It's gonna come big. Right? Because pretty much the people who refuse the vaccine will be the outcasts. Right? They will be the outcasts. Right? Because I remember on sometime during last week, yeah, actually no, sometime during this week, I went to the store and they actually have these things that monitor someone's temperature. Right? So they use that device and measured my temperature. Right? So I was thinking, man, I'm like, hey, in future it won't just be like that device that measures temperature. It will be a device that checks to see if you have the microchip. Right? Without a microchip, you pretty much won't have access. And for you to get that microchip, you have to be vaccinated, right? Because this microchip is pushed as a device that can register your health documents and things of that nature. It's gonna have your health details and other details. So for you to have the microchip, you have to be vaccinated, and that's what this world is coming to. So those who refuse the mark of the beast, which I believe is the RFID chip, they'll be outcasts. Right? And think how this reminded me in of the scripture in Second Esdras, where it says, when we see those things happening, right, those who are merchants, they should pretty much leave, their merchandise as if they won't gain any profit. Right? So what that signaled was that we pretty much gonna have to be forced out of our houses, lose our jobs, right? Pretty much become an outcast of society. Right? Going back on this article, right, it says the government has expressed interest in participating in the international COVAX financing initiative for COVID-19 vaccines, which aims to accelerate the development of promising technologies and fairly distribute them around the world. Right, so man, pretty much this mark of the beast is gonna hit all over the world. Right, it is that big, man. Finally, the events leading to the second coming of Yahushua. It says COVAX is jointly led by World Health Organization, WHO, the Global Access to Vaccines Initiative, Gavi, and Coalition for Pandemic Preparedness Innovations. It says we have indicated our willingness to participate, but no agreements have been signed yet. Alright. So since like in the United States they're gonna be using soldiers to distribute the vaccines and give the people the vaccines. Right, and it's actually punishable by law in the United States if you refuse to take the vaccines. So it got me thinking what is going to happen here in South Africa. Will people be thrown in prison? Will they be killed? Hey man, like it's a lot of things that are going to be happening. That's why we need, to be under the shadow of Yahweh. We need to be protected in these times. You can't bear arms hoping to fight against these people. You'll fail miserably. It says, solidarity, as we accelerate the science, the solidarity is needed to provide a joint solution for the pandemic. The COVAX Global Vaccines Facility is a critical mechanism for joint procurement and pool risk across multiple vaccines, which is why today I sent a letter to every member state encouraging them to join. I mean, so like these people, they are joining this initiative. right? And it seems like people all around the world they will join this thing. And so people who might be listening, being from different countries, this thing is gonna get there as well. All right. Yeah, this is the one that I wanted to get to. Um, there were who has set an August 31 deadline for finalizing the terms of COVAX. Right, so on the 31st, we will see what those terms are. I'm not sure if they will make them public or not, but it seems like they'll be finalizing the terms of this COVAX thing. It says which plans to invest in about dozen experimental vaccines and ensure swift, equitable access once they are proved safe and effective. Pooling funding to support the development of multiple vaccines candidates will help rich countries spread their bets while ensuring poor countries have receive a share of the shot once they are licensed. Gavi director Seth, and it's worth mentioning that these rich countries is pretty much talking about these countries that are ruled by Edomites. Rich countries like Russia, France, the United States of America, Britain, right? So pretty much, the allies of Babylon. That's where these vaccines, seem like they're gonna be heavily pushed there. Okay. It says candidates will help rich countries spread their bets while ensuring poor countries receive a share of the shots once they are licensed. It says Gavi director Seth Berkeley has previously said the aim is to have 2 billion doses ready for distribution by the end of 2021, which is very close, right? So it seems like in this 2021, that's when they want to bring the mark of the beast, right? Which is the RFID chip, man. Alright, and this was also another article. It says the COVID-19 pandemic will be over by the end of 2021, says Bill Gates. Alright, so now you might be asking yourself, how do these people know? Because these things they are planned, man. These things are planned. Alright, so these soldiers in the United States, they're gonna bring the vaccines. Alright, I believe Trump said that he's gonna use soldiers, with full force to bring the vaccines. Alright, so going to the book of Psalms 55. I'm gonna open verse 1. Psalm 51 verse 1 says, the chief musician of there's something on my screen, I can't see this word clearly. To the chief musician on Neginoth, I believe. Marshal, a psalm of David, give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplication. Right, because right now, we're sending supplication to the Most High, through prayers, right, so that we may be protected when these times are happening, right, especially, in the time of Jacob's trouble. Right, jumping down to verse 21, it says, let me jump to 20. It says, he hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. Alright, we know ultimately, King David was chased down by Saul, and his men. Right, but bringing this in the context of, the lesson, right, talking about Esau. Right, it says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. Right, because when you read the scriptures, it says, we pretty much are a peaceable people. Right, we are a peaceful people. Right, but when you read here, it says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Right, which is what Esau does. I mean, that's what he does, man. Prime example, he signs this peace treaties, but then he goes and blow up countries. Right? He invades lands, set up peace treaties, then he attacks you when you least expect it. And it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Right? These smooth words, like uh, pandemic will end in 2021. Those are smooth words, man. But in that 2021, war is gonna break out. Right? Not World War Three. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if it's gonna be World War Three. But we know, like when these soldiers are gonna be in the streets, people are gonna rebel, man. There's gonna be wars, race wars, and things of that nature. Right? It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they drew swords. Right? What are those swords? The weapons, the tanks that they're gonna be bringing to bring the vaccines. Right? Verse 22 it says, cast thy burdens upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee, and he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Right? Because we hope, man, that we are counted as the righteous. Right? So with that hope, man, we cast our burdens upon the Lord, right? So that we may be sustained and not be moved. When these people bring out the swords, which they're gonna be bringing. Right? So going back to this article here, where it says the pandemic will be over by the end of 2021, says Bill Gates. It says millions more are going to die before the COVID-19 pandemic is over. Right? It says that is the stark message of Bill Gates, a co-founder of Microsoft and one of the largest philanthropists via the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So how do these people know what time this thing is going to be over? Right? Because they are the devils, man. They are the devils. Right? When you jump down to the book of Revelation, when you jump down to the book of Revelation 12 and 12, Revelation 12 verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, right, and ye that dwell in them, right. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, right. Inhabitants of the earth, it's talking about the people, man, right, because we are the ones who are inhabiting this earth right now, right, and of the sea, right. So even these creatures that are on the earth, right, be whether it be in the sea or whatever, right. It says, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, right? Because wrath, it's something that you bring during martial law, during the times of war. You bring wrath, you don't bring peace. All right. So when they roll out those vaccines and these soldiers, they're coming down with guns and weapons, man. All right. So that's the wrath that is being spoken of in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. When you go down to another part of the verses, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So these devils, they know they have a short time to bring down this thing. They know they have a short time to make their plans come into fruition. Right? The plan is what? To subdue everybody. Right? The plan is to subdue everybody and rule this world with an iron fist. And us as cattle, that's what they want to do. Right? They want to establish this antichrist systems. Right? This anti-messiah system. That's what they want to bring. Right? And they know they have but a short time, man. Right? Because according to the signs that are happening, the second coming of Yahweh Shai is near. So they know they have a short time. Right? And this goes to show you that even these devils, they know the scriptures. right? They know the scriptures, they see the signs, and they know they have but a short time, man. So in the times that are coming, life is gonna be hard. Life is gonna be hard. So in these times that are left, you know, between now and the time of Jacob's trouble, it's important to examine ourselves. And I've been thinking a lot about this thing, and the conclusion that I reached is have faith, man, and ultimately prepare to die. Like that's it. Have faith, ultimately prepare to die as well. You know. Hey man, these are some of the things that are heavy. These are some of the things that are heavy. So with that, I hope you've been edified. Alright, and if anything, I hope you take this time to reflect, about events that are happening in the world. Shalom.